Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are going to explore how we can seriously upgrade our critical thinking and decision-making skills, and we're going to do it using a practical, real-world framework. Look, we all make countless decisions every single day, right? But when it comes to the big ones, the choices that actually alter our careers, our teams, our daily lives, we definitely need more than just a coin toss. We need a rock-solid, structured approach.
So, how do you make those hard workplace choices? Have you ever just felt completely paralyzed by a major crossroad in your career? Well, today, we are going to learn how to move way past just relying on gut feelings or initial emotional reactions. We're going to break down exactly how to evaluate your options logically, ethically, and strategically so you can feel completely, 100% confident in your next big move. Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The anatomy of a decision. 2. Introducing the SODS model. 3. Sarah's management dilemma. 4. Weighing pros and cons. 5. The role of emotional intelligence. And 6. Choosing the final solution. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The anatomy of a decision and avoiding the traps.
A decision is fundamentally just a choice between more than one option. Easy enough, right? But the actual process of choosing, that is where things get super tricky. If we just react in the moment, we risk ignoring vital information, or we fall victim to groupthink, or we totally fail to anticipate the negative fallout. To prevent this, we can lean on structured thinking frameworks, things like a SWOT analysis, decision trees, or root cause analysis. These tools basically force us to step back. They break massive, overwhelming problems into manageable, bite-sized pieces, minimizing the flaws in our judgment.
Moving right along to Section 2, introducing the Otis model, a framework for clarity.
Now, while there are a ton of great tools out there, this specific framework maps out the problem-solving journey just perfectly. SODAS, it's an acronym, and it stands for identifying the situation, brainstorming options, listing disadvantages and advantages, and finally choosing a solution. It literally forces you to write down your choices and objectively look at the positive and negative consequences right there, side by side. It takes all that abstract anxiety swirling in your head and puts it onto paper in a highly structured, logical way.
But hold on, running parallel to the SODAS method is a vital business ethics model. This forces us to gather the facts impartially and ask ourselves, okay, who is actually impacted by this choice? As you gather the facts, you have to pinpoint your stakeholders. Who has a real stake in the outcome? What are your ethical duties to them? Doing this prevents what experts call normative myopia, which is essentially having blinders on and totally failing to even notice that a dilemma exists beyond your own immediate viewpoint.
Section 3. Sarah's management dilemma. The hero's journey begins.
To really bring this all to life, let's look at Sarah. She's a hardware store cashier facing a pretty major career crossroads. We'll start by applying the S in SODAS, her situation. So Sarah currently makes $15.50 an hour. Her manager is going away for a month, and her boss just offered her a bump in pay, an extra $3 an hour, along with a whole week of management training. It sounds like an amazing resume builder, right? But it comes with a massive catch. It requires her to switch from her normal day shifts to night shifts.
Now, before we even jump to the options, we need to pause and consider the people involved. Following our stakeholder model, we can clearly see this isn't just about Sarah and her boss. She has a strict duty to her 4-year-old son, and furthermore, her mother, who currently watches her son, can only provide daytime childcare. She absolutely cannot babysit during those new night shifts. So, the plot thickens.
Section 4. Weighing pros and cons. Let's evaluate the options.
Okay, so this right here is arguably the most absolutely crucial step of the entire SODS framework. We are objectively analyzing the D and the A, the disadvantages and the advantages. This is where we focus heavily on weighing those pros and cons to slice right through the emotional fog. We have to visually weigh Sarah's genuine ambition against her daily reality. On the pros side, a $3 an hour raise, a week of solid management training, and some incredible resume building experience. But on the con side, mandatory night shifts, her very distinct discomfort with taking the subway late at night, and of course, a massive childcare conflict.
And here is the totally surprising fact that shifts everything once you actually look closely at the data. A night sitter costs $10 an hour.
That means for a 6-hour night shift, Sarah has to pay $60. Since her raise is only $3 an hour, the extra $18 she makes per shift is literally completely wiped out by the $60 childcare cost. So economically speaking, taking this big promotion actually puts her deep in the negative. Crazy, right?
Section 5. The role of emotional intelligence. Navigating the overwhelm.
So, when the math absolutely refuses to add up and the frustration really sets in, that is exactly where emotional intelligence has to enter the chat. Sarah wants to advance, obviously, but the logistics are just punishing. EI ensures that she doesn't make some rash, totally emotion-driven choice just to secure a fancy new title. As noted in a really fascinating paper out of Swami Vivekananda University, emotional intelligence is your capacity to recognize your feelings, comprehend them, and then effectively manage them while you are busy weighing your options.
Let's see how this actually builds into actionable real-world behaviors. By utilizing mindfulness and emotional self-awareness, Sarah can keep her composure despite the uncertainty. She can regulate her disappointment, she can empathize with her boss's very real need for a temporary manager, and, most crucially, she can use cognitive flexibility. This allows her to explore creative alternatives rather than just feeling trapped into accepting a simple yes or no. As this quote perfectly highlights, by encouraging critical evaluation and objective analysis of data, emotional intelligence helps to reduce decision biases like framing effects. Basically, a high EI allows you to critically evaluate your pros and cons lists with total objectivity, without letting the shiny, prestigious framing of a manager title blind you to the heavy financial and personal costs hiding underneath. Section 6. Choosing the final solution. The S in SOTUS. All right, it's time to take all this data and finally turn it into action. Before locking in a solution, Sarah must evaluate her professional duties and really check in with her personal integrity. This is also a great moment to seek external guidance. Using that cognitive flexibility we talked about, she might actually propose a completely new third option, like maybe asking if she can take the acting manager role but keep her daytime shifts, or perhaps even share the role with another employee to bypass that night shift penalty altogether.
Ultimately, the very best solution in the SODS framework is always the one where the advantages heavily outweigh the disadvantages, without sacrificing your core integrity or your stakeholder duties. For Sarah, if her boss shoots down a compromise, the most logical choice, despite her fierce ambition, might just be to decline the role. That protects her finances and her son while still allowing her to ask to be considered for future daytime leadership training.
The SOTUS framework proves time and time again that structure brings clarity. So, as you face your own career dilemmas moving forward, I really want you to step back, build your pros and cons lists, and ask yourself, what emotions might be silently steering your choices right now? Are you making a choice based on cold, hard facts, or are hidden biases running the show behind the scenes? Try running your next big, complex problem through the SOTUS model, and just watch how your decision-making transforms.